Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning into another Supatease video. We got the MMR fixes. My rating's already getting close to 50 to 100 rating, higher than it was last week, and that continues to churn. So looks like grinding the ladder is going to be a lot more viable. And now we are getting class changes that I am praying are going to hit the nail on the head as far as class balance for the current patch, because these changes come in next week on June 27th. We have some PvE changes that affect the whole game, and we also have a lot of PvP changes towards the top classes. So let's get started. Blood DKs, you're going to enjoy a 6.5% damage increase, and tank specs are getting a little bit worrisome here in terms of their potential viability. Demon Hunters are seeing a 15% damage increase to Chaos Strike, melee auto attacks, Demon Blades, Demon's Bite, and Fell Blade. And this is not being counteracted in PvP, by the way. You are getting this. Demon Hunter needed survivability help and maybe some Subtlety Rogue nerfs, but this is a crazy amount of extra damage coming into you, and it's coming in PvP. You might want to reroll. Feral Druids, 3% damage increase. Yeah, you'll take it. Again, survivability, I think, was more your problem, more so rogues being so competitively viable in PvP, but you'll take it. 3% is not nothing. Beast Mastery Hunters, your kill shot damage being increased by 10%, but not in PvP. For Marksmanship Hunter, aim shot, kill shot, and rapid fire damage is being increased by 10%, but kill shot will not be increased in PvP. So just a 10% damage buff to rapid fire and aim shot. Nice little bump up for Marksmanship Hunters. Again, probably would have preferred some survivability changes for them in PvP, but definitely got to take it over nothing. Windwalker Monk, 3% damage increase. Again, you probably want a survivability increase or some rogue nerfs, so we'll wait and see what goes on in the PvP section, but 3% is not nothing. For Shadow Priest, you are going to get a lot of single target damage buffs for an AoE nerf that is going to be applicable in PvP, but probably, or in PvE, but not really matter in PvP. So Mind Blast, 10% more damage. Shadow Word Death, Mind Spike damage, Insanity, Mind Flay Insanity, Mind Flay, Void Bolt, Void Spike damage, Void Bolt damage increased by 10%. So a lot of single target damage increases, but Void Spike damage from Idol of Yogg Saron is going to be reduced by 35, and your Psychic Link is only going to cause direct damage spells to inflict 25% of their damage onto other targets, down from 30. So 5% little AoE buff or nerf to you for a big single target buff, which is probably going to feel pretty strong in PvP. For Holy Priests, they are trailing behind in DPS output. Really like these damage increasing and offensive changes to healers. Healers want to feel like they matter in ending the game, so giving them more damage and more implications towards being able to control the end of the match so they can feel powerful and more people want to play it is super important. They're going to buff your Holy Fire damage by 10%, your Smite damage by 15%, your Chastise damage by 35%, and your Shadow Word Death damage by 25%. Probably going to notice the Holy Fire and the Shadow Word Death. Smite is Garbo, so you're probably not even going to notice this. Doesn't even feel like you have time to press it from my experience playing it. And Chastise damage seems weird because you're using this to CC healers normally, and I don't see a lot of Holy Priest playing the stun, but if you use it as a stun on a kill target, you might notice this damage. Resto Shamans, they really want your healing rain build to be good. Tidewater's healing increased by 40%, and the duration of Rainstorm increased to 8 seconds up from 6, so buffs to Resto Shaman. For Prot Warrior, we are seeing defensive damage stance increase to 20% damage reduction up from 15. You're probably going to like this in PvE. I don't know what's going on with tanks balance necessarily in PvE in terms of viability, but extra 5% damage reduction at all times doesn't seem terrible. I don't know if you're lagging behind in damage, and that's the main reason you're not taking, though. You're probably not going to notice this in PvP. PvP specific changes, and these are the big ones. You know, this is ones everybody has been waiting to see. We wanted MMR fix. We wanted these changes. Are they going to hit it right? They're nerfing the primary stat bonus from double trinket for all damage dealers by 5%, which is, you know, a healer buff overall, which is nice to see. But slowing the game down in a lot of matchups that were already kind of getting slow, so a bit worried about what the pace of the game is going to be. For Boomkin, they're targeting Cyclone specifically and its speed. They think that it's too fast. Precognition's haste benefits going to be removed in 10.1.5, so it seems like they're not making changes to certain things that are going to be changed in 10.1.5, which is still kind of a little bit of ways away, but definitely agree that the cast time of Cyclone is too fast. So they're going to be reducing Alkin Adept's cast time reduction to Cyclone Tango routes to 15%, down from 20. It's still going to be pretty speedy. And they're also nerfing Solar Beam to last 6 seconds in PvP, down from 8, and that it was an oversight. Now, the Solar Beam change is not a big deal because pretty much every healer in the game can get out of Solar Beam so long as they're playing a gnome. If you're a non-gnome healer, this is a buff to you. And it will be felt and noticed. If you're an Evoker healer, this is a buff to you. But everything else, not so much. Probably would have preferred them to target high winds here. I think Cyclone's already really strong crowd control. And then when you come out of the high winds, when you come out of the clone, you get high winds, reduces your healing and your damage by a lot. So I think the duration of high winds is probably too long. So targeting the duration of it. would have been a nice change. Honestly, this is a slap on the wrist, in my opinion, to Boomkin. Although we may feel this on the ladder against healers that aren't gnome, but in tournament play, everyone's a gnome, so this doesn't really do anything to tournament. For Resto Druid, really disappointed with these changes. Reactive Resin snare duration increased to 8, up from 5. Purge people don't care about the snare. It feels really underwhelming. You're still going to take it in matchups where you can spam Purge, but really underwhelming talent. Now, this is the biggest nerf. I think this is the second biggest nerf. The biggest nerf is impending here. Actually, you might want to reroll class. So, Verdant Infusion now extends heal over time effects by 4 seconds, down from 8 in PvP combat. This might just completely kill Resto Druid. The main advantage of Resto Druid is staying 80 yards away and extending Cenarian Ward on a target and sending it in and it being unkillable. I don't think you're going to be able to accomplish that anymore. Extending your HOTS only by 4 is a very big deal. 4 less seconds of Cenarian Ward on a target is a lot, or Adaptive Swarm it is a lot. So it's a big nerf. Master Shapeshifter is now going to refund 2,500 mana from Iron for up from 1,250, 3,500 mana from Wrath, Starfire, and Star Surge was 2,000, and 10,000 mana from spending 5 common points in Cap Form, up from 5,000 at level 70. Main problem with this is that it takes a lot of globals. You have to be in Moonkin form to get the mana back. You have to be in Bear form. Honestly, the Bear form one is the best way to get the mana back, I think, in terms of efficiency. And spending 5 combo points. You got to be in cat, in melee range, compromising your position with your reduced heal over time effects to get to 5 combo points to get 10k mana. It's just way too many globals that you got to flip between with the pace of the game. Now, maybe the 5% damage reduction overall can enable you that type of luxury. This is definitely going to affect the playstyle in 2s for Resto Druid. But I'd say overall, this is just like a huge soul-crushing nerf. And nerfing healers is not a good idea. We need healers to be strong, and people playing every healing spec or the queues are going to get longer. So really don't like these for Resto Druid. Mistweaver, you're seeing a 7% buff to your enveloping mist healing. Didn't know you needed a healing buff as a Mistweaver, but you're getting a healing buff as a Mistweaver. So good for Mistweaver monks. For Priest, Catharsis is now only going to store 15% of the damage taken, down from 20, and the stored amount cannot exceed 12% of the Priest's maximum health, down from 15. So Burst from Catharsis is getting nerfed. For Discipline Priest specifically, Discipline damage and Atonement healing continues to be lower than we like in PvP, so we're increasing them to allow Discipline to be more offensive. You're getting a 10% damage buff, and Atonement healing is getting increased by 20% in PvP combat. This is the type of change that I like to see for a healer, getting them engaged, doing damage, and being rewarded for it. So that they can aid in the end conclusion of a game. I feel like they had impact on it. So I like this direction for Discipline. Honestly, I'm probably just dropping my Resto Druid after this and playing only my Priest. For Shadow specifically, they are nerfing Unfurling Darkness damage by 25%. Again, you are getting a buff to all your single target spells. So this overall might feel like a little bit of a burst nerf when you're getting targeted. But if you're able to free cast and get a lot of spells out, you're probably going to feel more of a buff from these changes. Subtlety Rogue. This is the big class that I wanted to see what they're doing with because it's probably the best class in the game. Secret Technique damage is now reduced by 40% PvP combat, up from 33. Only a 7% nerf to Secret Technique. Thieves Bargain PvP talent damage penalty increased to 10%, up from 6. So 4% less damage overall from this talent, and 7% more from Secret Technique. Probably would have rather them err on the side of cooldown reduction. I feel like Vanish is entirely too short of a cooldown, and then it has interactions with reducing the cooldown of all your other abilities. So it's like, it's like Outlaw Rogue from the end of Shadowlands, where it just has an infinite, unending amount of cooldowns that you can never catch this class unless you can 100-0 it in a stun, and even doing that seems to be very difficult. Would have preferred to look at the survivability of Subtlety Rogue. That is the main contributing factor to a spec's competitive viability in tournament play, and often at the highest end of the ladder is how difficult it is to kill. The most difficult to kill class is the best class, and Subtlety Rogue is bordering impossible to kill in a lot of cases in the hands of skilled players. So it's nice. It's probably going to be felt, but I think it just means that your partner will have to carry the damage, your mage or your boomkin, and those classes do a lot of damage. So this change might not be felt overall at all. I would have much preferred they look at the survivability of Subtlety Rogue. For Shaman specifically, they are nerfing your instant cast healing and buffing your casted healing. So Healing Stream Totem is getting a 10% nerf in PvP for all specs of Shaman. It's going to be 20% increase, down from 30. Earth Shield for Elemental is getting a 10% nerf. It's reduced by 60% PvP combat, was 70. Wait a minute. Earth Shield healing is now reduced by 60% in PvP combat, was 70. Was that a buff? I think that's a buff, isn't it? We're redistributing the amount of healing for instant cast sources for all shamans into the power of casted heals. That wouldn't make sense in line with what they're saying here. But it says it's reduced by 60%, was 70. That sounds like a 10% buff. Someone in the chat tell me if I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong when I read these. But that seems like a buff. Healing Surge healing is increased by 20% PvP combat. That's really strong for Elemental. For Enhancement Shaman, Earth Shield healing is now reduced by 60% in PvP combat, was 70. So again, seems like an Earth Shield buff. I really don't think they needed an Earth Shield buff, so I'm surprised. I feel like this is probably a nerf, not a buff, but I feel like Earth Shield didn't need to be buffed if it is. Healing Surge healing is now increased by 4%. PvP combat was previously reduced by 13%, so a buff to Healing Surge for Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement doesn't use Healing Surge, you use Chain Heal, so this change literally does nothing. It literally does nothing for enhancement. You're already just using Chain Heal. It seems kind of like they were trying to keep it consistent with the spells that they were targeting for all of the specs, but Chain Heal is what you use as your main spender for Maelstrom, unless something has changed. Enhancement Shamans, let me know, because I played it last season a lot, tried to get rank 1 on it, got really close, but you didn't even use Healing Surge, so it's probably not going to matter. For Resto Shaman, Earth Shield healing is now reduced by PvP combat by 15%. See, they say it's reduced here, but it's buffed. It looks like it's buffed here with the language. So I'm going to assume it means it nerfed it overall. That's a big nerf to Resto Shaman. Your Healing Stream Totem and your Earth Shield. So let's see what they're compensating with. Healing Surge healing is now increased by 27% PvP, up from 6, so a 21% increase. Healing Wave is now increased by 56 in PvP percent, was 30, so a 26% increase in Healing Wave. Water Shield's melee attack mana refund is now 20% effective in PvP combat, was 50, and Water Shield now regenerates 75% more mana for its passive effect in PvP combat. 75% more? Resto Shaman didn't need more mana. More mana? Or does that mean it used to be 100 and now it's only 75% effective? Language in this is really confusing to me. I don't know what to take from that. I want to say that's a mana nerf, which makes sense. But the nerfs to your healing spells are a lot, and these Khazad spells are not super effective. I mean, Resto Shaman need more direct throughput, so hopefully this works out, but this is troubling. This seems to me like could just maybe completely destroy Resto Shaman, and again, we don't need to completely destroy healers. For Warlocks, and this is the big one, this is the heavy hitter. Developers notes, we're targeting the defensive power of Demonology with these changes as they are often difficult targets to take down relative to other DPS specs. This is exact type of shit. This is the exact type of stuff I wanted to see for Subtlety Rogue. They're difficult to take down. We're also lowering the healing for Mortal Coil to lower overall self-healing for Warlocks in PvP. Mortal Coil healing is now 50% effective in PvP combat. Makes a lot of sense. It's going to be probably felt more so for Affliction and Destro. Soul Link shared damage with the Warlock's pet is now 50% effective in PvP combat. Oh my god, delete your Warlock. Profane Bargains increase the effectiveness of Soul Link at low health is now 40% effective in PvP combat. Shadow Priests are replacing you. Shadow Priests are also really difficult to take down, and at the moment, your Shadow Priests are just taking Warlock's position, I think. Dude, it's the right type of targeted nerfs here, but not consistent with the other classes that are also having pretty high levels of survivability. I think we're going to see that in the North American tournament when Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman is just really difficult to take down. So some of these changes, really good direction. Other ones, a bit troubling, a bit concerning. This big thing to take away from this is like Warlocks, I think, are deleted. Resto Shaman might be deleted, and I think Resto Druid might be deleted from these changes. And then Demon Hunter is probably insane. I mean, Demon Hunter is getting you're still gonna die to rogues, but like that's a lot. That's a lot of numbers right there. So a little bit disappointed with the changes here this week. Hopefully that 5% nerf to overall intellect can alleviate some pain to the healers, but a lot of these specific changes to healers is making it a bit more problematic. And there's no buffs to Holy Paladin, where it's just a quick little band-aid, like 20% Flash of Light, 20% Holy Light healing, and then remove it if they're too good in 10.1.5 when it comes out. I would have liked to seen a couple of little band-aid hotfix buffs to the classes that are underperforming at the moment, and then just yoink them away when they don't need them with the changes that are coming in the next patch, honestly. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out on Tuesday. The Demo Warlock nerfs are very substantial. I think Demo Warlock might just completely disappear. So the meta might be only Sub-Rogue, because Sub-Rogue didn't really get nerfed that hard, to be honest. So I think Sub-Rogues are taking over. It's a rogue takeover. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope this got you updated as far as everything related to World of Warcraft. And if you want to support the stream, make sure to smash the subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. My long-term goal of getting to 100,000 subscribers. Would love for you to be a part of that journey, and it is appreciated, as I said. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.